Howdy folks, I'm Brian, here's Amber, and here's some Reddit. Our first story for the evening is titled, Am I a Jerk for Telling My Girlfriend That She's a Burden and She Needs to Get Her Life Together? My girlfriend is 22. She has gotten incredibly clingy since her parents died earlier this year. And at first, I, a 23-year-old male, was okay with it, and I figured it was just a response to the loss. It has been 9 months now, and it is driving me insane. Everything is up to me. Everything. She has become dependent on me to function. Every single thing is my decision. What clothes she wears, what she has for dinner. She asks for approval on what class she takes, what blanket she uses. If she has a soda or water, should she sit on the couch or the lounge chair, she is constantly asking for my advice and approval. She'll call me while she's in work or in a lecture to ask me what she should do. It's put a burden on my life, and it's putting a burden on her life. I love her so much. Before everything happened, I could see an amazing future with her. I've been with her for nearly 4 years now. I would really love to make this work, but I can't do the clinginess. I talked with her within the last week and told her basically that she needs to get her stuff together or find another partner because she's become a burden and I can't do this anymore. She said, okay. You know what's even more painful than having your significant other ask you about every little decision they make? Watching them to struggle to make those decisions on their own. She took an hour to find an outfit yesterday before crying and giving up. It's painful to watch because she used to be so independent. She did her own thing. It didn't matter what anyone else thought now. Everything is just what everyone else thinks. Am I a jerk for telling my girlfriend that she's a burden and needs to get her life together?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, I think this is pretty straightforward here. Clearly his girlfriend is suffering from depression or something like that.
Right.
And she is having trouble making even small decisions, and so I think that the issue that she's having here probably requires more kindness and gentleness and probably therapy.
Yeah, I'm not a clinician, so I can't diagnose her, but it sounds like it happened when her parents died, and having both your parents die, it sounds like together or in a very short time span, that's going to be very traumatic. And It's had a very devastating effect on her. And I understand that it's not sustainable to make all of her decisions for her forever.
Yeah.
And that's reasonable, but the approach shouldn't be to tell her to get her life together because, people can't just jump out of being depressed or whatever issue they're dealing with. They need someone to help them get there.
Yeah, well, I think that it's definitely reasonable to, ask that she gets help. But to call her a burden, I think, is taking it a little far, especially with someone who's already having so many issues, with their mental health. So I definitely think that, he's well within his rights to kind of be like, look, I'm noticing that you're having a lot of trouble making small decisions. Maybe we can work on that and help you get through those decisions and, become more independent again.
Yeah, and instead of just kind of stopping helping with her all decisions, maybe just cut back. So, maybe she picks out her outfit, but you help her pick out what to eat for dinner, or, there's some kind of middle ground. You need to kind of ease into this and make sure she is getting, professional help if she can get it at all, because there's a bigger issue at play here.
Yeah, well, and there's also decision fatigue.
That is absolutely a thing.
And decision fatigue is a thing, and she could just be lacking in the mental faculties to kind of be able to make and formulate decisions. So it's definitely something that I think that she probably needs to see a therapist about, and that she probably needs a lot of compassion and support right now.
Yeah, and it doesn't sound like she has a huge support system. She's relying on you for everything. I think probably her parents were a huge part of her support system. Yeah. And now that she's lost them, she has you to turn to. And that's going to be hard, but it's also important that you support her as much as you can, because you are who she has to turn to.
Yeah.
Our next story is, am I the jerk really for bringing a turkey to a Buddhist house? My parents raised me and my sister with a very traditional view of animals. Some animals are pets and you can love them. Other animals are food and there's no point in getting emotional about them. Well, my sister went off to college, met an Asian man, married into a Buddhist family, and she even became one herself. Ever since then, she's blurred the lines. Her and her husband don't eat meat. Moreover, he's lactose intolerant and doesn't like the dead calves and chicks in the industry, so no milk or eggs either. Makes getting lunch with her a bit of a farce, but all the restaurants are closed anyway, lol. It's my sister's turn to host Thanksgiving this year. She told everyone that they were free to bring milk and egg sides that she wouldn't eat, but not to bring meat because, quote, looking at the dead animal will make us sad. BS, it makes her sad. She ate this way our whole childhood, but now she can't see the difference between meat and Bambi. Everyone in the group chat started falling all over themselves to see who can bring the most animal-free dish, so they decided to cook with oat milk and God knows what kind of butter. The day arrives and I pull up to my sister's house with a brine-stuffed, perfectly cooked turkey. Because it's Turkey Day, for heaven's sake! My sister doesn't say anything about it, but her husband and his parents looked at it with such rude disgust. At dinner time, I figured at least my parents and brothers would have a slice, but nobody but me and my kids had any. I made a couple of comments about the turkey on the table, kind of inviting my sister to clear the air if she thought anything needed to be said, but she didn't bite, pun intended. My own father, Mr. The doctor told me to cut back for my cholesterol, but I won't, pulled me aside to chew my ear off about it. As I was leaving, I gave my sister a quick, sorry about the bird, I didn't know it was going to be weird, hoping we could just drop it, but she just shrugged. It's Sunday as I write this, and she's all over Facebook with her toddler and her husband, cuddling live turkeys at a sanctuary, talking about H5N8 as if it were a meat eater's fault. I feel like it's a dig at me. The reason I ask is really because of my parents. The people who taught me my values would usually be on my side. On a related note, my mom's been carrying around a little dog and treating it way too much like a baby for my comfort. If she saw me doing that as a kid, I'd have gotten slapped. Did everyone move on without telling me?
Well, I just want to say, I think that he really gave her the bird here.
Yes. So I think the big thing here, and there's a few different issues going on, but your sister and her husband are Buddhists, and an important part of that practice for them is that they don't eat animals or have dead animals in their household. And so in my view, this really isn't that different from like going into a kosher household with pork. They're not asking you to give up meat or anything like that. They're saying for this one meal, we don't want any meat in our household.
Yeah, well, it's definitely understandable if it makes them uncomfortable. And it seems like he brought this turkey along more as an act of defiance than anything else.
Well, his whole tone throughout the post is kind of dripping with, like, it's not this or this. My family made this clear distinction that there's food animals and then there's pet animals, and there's no gray area. It's all clear cut.
And I mean, I think that he overstepped some boundaries here. No one said anything to him except for his dad. And the thing is, like, not even his hosts, who were gracious enough to, still put up with him during the dinner time, didn't say anything, and they didn't make a fuss out of it. So he's the one who I feel like made a bigger deal out of this than what it really should have been. They just asked people not to bring things along, but he took that as a challenge, it feels like. Right.
Well, so it seemed like he was affronted because people were respecting their desires and like making dishes vegan for them.
Yeah.
And he didn't like that, and so he pushed back on it.
Yeah, and I think part of the important aspect of Thanksgiving is to share food with people. And what's the point in making a meal that no one else is going to share? And I think that if you reach the point where you're, not sharing your food with anyone on Thanksgiving, then you've kind of missed the point.
Yeah, and also, I just wanted to comment briefly on the thing, because he calls BS on his sister being upset by dead animals. But people grow and they change, you know. I mean, I became a vegetarian when I was 11 because I couldn't separate the difference between food animals and pet animals anymore. It didn't make sense to me. And so I used to eat meat, and I ate it a lot, and I didn't understand how people could go without it, and then I didn't anymore. So it's fully possible that your sister has just had a change in perspective and now views animals in a different light.
And to answer the final question here, did everyone move on without telling me? I think the answer to that is yes. Everyone did move on. They didn't tell you. They didn't need to send you the invite. All right, our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Splashing My Girlfriend with Water?
Yes.
A few days ago, I was out with my girlfriend and our friends, her two best friends, and my best friend. It started raining badly and we all had umbrellas. She's a lot shorter than me, so I noticed that if I tilted my umbrella just a little bit to the side, it would splash the side of her body, and we were walking next to each other. I did it once and she laughed and told me to stop. I did it again and she seemed a little bit more annoyed and told me to stop again. Still, I consider myself a bit of a jokester, so like every 5 to 10 minutes I'd start to tilt my umbrella over. She'd straight up yell at me after just 20 minutes. Just 20 minutes
of getting splashed every 5 minutes.
And told me to stop splashing her and told me that I was annoying. This made me mad, especially because I told her before that I don't like it when people disrespect me in front of my friends. But here you are, disrespecting her. I splashed her again, and I told her I'd keep doing it unless she apologized. Well, it seems like you were going to do it no matter what. She started running. I ran after her, tilting my umbrella and splashing her. After a while, I noticed that she was running and laughing, so I was too. I felt like it was a game, and honestly, super fun. But when I reached home, I realized that she hadn't been laughing. She had been sobbing, and it just looked like laughing from a distance. The entire left side of her body was soaked, and she stormed upstairs and won't speak to me now. Her friends told me that I'm a jerk and won't let me speak to her. I admit I shouldn't have splashed her so much, but it's just water. All she has to do is shower and dry off, and she'll be fine. Also, she could have told me straight up how upset it was making her, and I would have stopped.
But she literally told you to stop. I don't even know how many times.
My best friend agrees with me and says that this is just girls being crazy again. But her friends keep yelling at me. So Reddit, am I a jerk?
Yes.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that we can probably both agree here that what's happening with this situation is she was probably more upset that he wasn't respecting her wishes to stop than the actual water. She didn't want to be splashed, and she told you, no, I don't want to be splashed, but you kept doing it. And, I've said it before, I'll say it again, jokes aren't funny if they're at the expense of someone else. And you talk about how she disrespected you, but you were disrespecting her wishes for you to stop. So...
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, some people just don't like being splashed. Like, I don't want to be splashed. I hate the feeling of wet clothes on my body. Like, it's just uncomfortable. And it sounds like you were going a long distance. And so you're just like, keep throwing water on her. And then she has to like carry on her half soaked the whole way home.
And when you were like, after just 20 minutes, like, you should have cut your losses at 1. But really, it's rude to get people wet in the rain. Unless they're all for it. And I mean...
Right. And that's the thing, is like, generally when people say stop, they mean stop.
Mm-hmm.
And so unless you have explicitly said between the two of you that stop doesn't actually mean to stop, and have had some kind of conversation around that, don't assume that stop means go.
Yeah.
Stop means stop. Doesn't matter the context.
So yeah, don't keep splashing people after they've told you to stop.
Our last story is... Am I the jerk for telling my wife I'm sick of her restrictive diet and want her to loosen up and eat a freaking burger now and then? So about a year ago, it became obvious my wife was having a hard time managing her weight. She's not a very disciplined person in her life, and I love her in spite of that. But what started as a minor weight problem, she's 5 feet tall and was 145 pounds, became a massive problem, 175 pounds. I encouraged her to start dieting and exercising because it would help out our marriage in the long run. She wasn't sure what I meant, and I explained that while I loved her, I was having a hard time in the bedroom because of her massive weight gain. She cried about it, but eventually understood and started dieting. Well, she's down to 155, and it's not the best, but it's an improvement, and I'm proud of her. The problem is that she doesn't seem to get moderation. If I want to get burgers for dinner, she just meekly says she'll have a salad or something without a bun, etc., etc. I tell her to relax and just enjoy a burger once in a while, and she tells me that she doesn't want to undo all of her hard work. I keep telling her that one burger every now and again won't undo anything, but she claims that burgers take up a lot of room in her calorie allotment. I told her that she shouldn't need to be so strict and count calories to maintain a healthy weight. Most of the women I know are mindful, and if they know they're going to a steakhouse or a burger place for dinner, they just don't eat all day, and that she should just learn to do that, or nibble on carrots or whatever. But that she needs to learn to unwind and have some fun, because it's so fun to starve yourself for a whole day so you can have one food to please your partner. She yelled at me and told me that I can either have it one way or the other, have a skinny hot wife like you want, or have a fat cow who eats burgers and fries. And I told her that I want both, and that it's hot when a skinny girl knows moderation and can eat a burger but still fit into her jeans the next day. Now she's not talking to me, and I'm just annoyed. I don't get why this is that hard. Am I the jerk? Apparently someone does not understand how metabolisms work.
Yeah. Well, that's just it, is that, she's clearly counting her calories, and she's counting them for a reason. And like what you said in the earlier, is that it's no fun starving yourself all day just to eat one meal that pleases your partner.
So that's the thing, is every body is different. And so you may have friends who can eat whatever they want and they're still thin. Not every body works like that. A lot of people, for most people, I would say even, you have to kind of balance the calories with your desired aesthetic. And so it is a choice of, do I eat a lot of the foods that I want that are high in calories, or do I have a thinner figure? You can't expect her to just magically make those calories disappear.
Yeah, well, and that's just it, is that she's trying the best that she can, and it's losing 20 pounds is a really remarkable thing. And it sounds like she's done a really great job. These pounds, they add up over years, and that's just, people don't see the gradual weight change a lot of times because it takes a long time for people to put on weight. And so for her to have lost 20 pounds, I think it's a huge accomplishment. And if she's healthy and happy with it, then that's really what's important here.
Well, and she's doing this to please you. And so for you to then be like, flip the script on her and be like, well, why don't you just eat a burger, has got to be really frustrating.
Yeah.
Because it sounds like she did this to please you. And now you're all of a sudden changing the rules on her and making this impossible standard where she's supposed to both eat burgers and be thin, because you're still not happy with her at 155. You want her even skinnier.
Yeah.
But you want her also chowing down on burgers. So you can't have it both ways.
Yeah. You don't move the goalpost on your wife.
Yeah.
Don't be a jerk. Support her. Tell her that she's doing a good job. And I mean, weight is such a hard thing anyways. And being at a healthy weight is a hard thing for a lot of people. So don't make it any harder than it has to be if this is something that she's doing for you, I guess. And I mean, this is, again, don't move the goalpost. Don't be rude.
Yeah.
All right, folks. I guess that's all the time we have for tonight. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks to Amber for joining me this evening.
Thank you for having me.
And hopefully you enjoyed this. We kind of had a little bit more of a conversational format tonight, and I think let us know what you think about that. If you like the conversational format, or if you like it better when we kind of give a little bit more of like an advice type thing. So, yeah. Also, there'll be like a link over here. And, if you want to see Amber's channel, feel free to click on that. She has a super cool channel. And, if you like these kinds of videos, then you can see more videos like those. Well, not like these, but ones that are more like regular, videos on my channel. She does, reading Reddit and, does, some of the Am I a Jerk type videos and stuff like that. So, yeah, I suggest dropping by. So, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow. Very careful, I might throw you in the bloopers.